Yeah, Justine.
Hey, it's me. This guy from LA, Barry Egan, he's calling on the other line. He's saying all this stuff. He wants to talk to a supervisor or whatever.
What'd you say?
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are exploring the really unique cinematic language of Paul Thomas Anderson. He's a director pretty much defined by his ability to capture human nature right at its extremes.
Yeah, expertly mixing that sort of volatile chaos with deep and sometimes profoundly uncomfortable intimacy.
Exactly.
And that fundamental tension really, it feels like the guiding principle of his work. Our mission here, I suppose, is to trace his stylistic evolution and, understand the techniques he uses.
From that early kinetic energy to his later, more observational stuff.
Right, that later restraint. But it's all aimed at making even his most, let's say, deeply flawed characters feel raw and authentic.
Okay, so the journey always begins with character for PTA.
Yeah.
You've got this enduring theme he explores, how relentless ambition kind of crashes against this desperate, often really hidden search for connection, or maybe surrogate family.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned his characters are contradictory, but do they ever find a truly, healthy resolution? Or is their world just built on that messy, sometimes transactional intimacy?
You're a bad person. You have no right taking people's confidence in your service. You understand me, sir?
You're sick. No.
Shut up! Shut the fuck
You have
up!
no right to take people's
Shut
trust.
up! Will you shut up? Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Now! Are you threatening me, Dick? Why don't you go fuck yourself? Oh.
Well, I'd say the resolution is always conditional, The characters are often intentionally unlikable, maybe abrasive, but their motives, they're understandable.
Right.
Take Frank Mackey and Magnolia, that whole toxic, loud persona. It's really just armor, isn't it? Armor against the chaos of his childhood abandonment.
Yeah, you can see that.
But PTA's core insight, I think, is that fulfillment often requires looking outside the self. You see it with Dirk Diggler finding his way back to that surrogate family in Boogie Nights.
Okay.
Or Barry Egan in Punch Drunk Love finding this totally transformative love. They only really succeed by rejecting that kind of singularity, that isolation.
And the most profound intimacy. It seems to pop up in the darkest places sometimes. Think about Phantom Thread.
Oh, definitely.
Where Alma poisoning Reynolds.
Right.
It's viewed not just as simple betrayal, but as this almost perverse ritualistic act. It's about control, maybe.
Yeah, it is, yeah. It's this extreme transaction, and PTA uses it to show that Reynolds can only get to true vulnerability, the kind he actually seems to crave deep down through, submission, through a temporary loss of his own power.
That emotional shift, then, from isolation towards seeking connection, it's mirrored beautifully in how he actually uses the camera, right?
Exactly. His style evolved pretty dramatically after those early films. The kinetic, almost Scorsese-esque phases.
Like the Rehad Jackson drug deal scene in Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Super frantic.
Precisely that energy. So if that emotional journey is the core...
How does he physically show it to us on screen?
Right. Well, that brings us straight to his technique, really, since There Will Be Blood. He adopted a much more restrained, observational approach.
Mm-hmm.
PTA tends to avoid insert shots. He keeps the focus totally on the character. Think about those close-ups. They're held for ages sometimes.
Like Daniel Plainview's first sales pitch in There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
You're just watching him think.
Exactly. You're forced to witness the internal thought process just unfolding right there.
And for building chaos or tension, he seems to force the audience into these uncomfortable spaces using long, uncut takes. The camera doesn't cut away to give you relief.
No relief. It locks you in. It demands you witness it.
Yeah. Like the processing scene in The Master, that unbearable tension you mentioned, or
Yeah.
even the sheer violence of Barry Egan's bathroom smash-up in Punch Drunk Love. The lack of cuts makes you feel kind of complicit.
That's a great way to put it. Complicit. It is demanding witness, not just provoking a reaction. And then he uses wide shots so purposefully, too.
To capture the full body language.
Yeah, showing communication that words just can't convey. Remember when H.W. and Daniel reunite after the abandonment in There Will Be Blood?
Oh, yeah. Brutal scene.
That wide, almost unforgiving shot captures the anger in their entire posture. It keeps you, the viewer, at this meaningful distance, letting you see the whole dynamic.
And that focus on real-time character dynamics, it seems to carry right through to his more recent work, even while the narrative structure itself has become maybe more fluid.
Definitely more fluid. His recent narratives, films like Licorice Pizza or Inherent Vice, make him feel almost open world.
Right, sort of meandering.
Well, yeah, because they're following the character's emotional spiral rather than sticking to a traditional, rigid plot structure. It's character first.
And this kind of episodic pacing is now being layered onto potentially more action-heavy filmmaking, too. I heard about his upcoming film, One Battle After Another.
That's right. His editor, Andy Jurgensen, described the momentum as being shot out of a cannon.
Wow.
Yeah, they maintain that urgency using what they call dynamic cuts and these really short snapshots of a shot just to keep the energy incredibly high. It proves that his observational style can absolutely handle breakneck speed when needed.
What's really fascinating, though, is that this energy doesn't seem to sacrifice authenticity. The whole filmmaking team seems to favor realism over, glossy perfection.
Completely. They embrace imperfections. They use practical sound, apparently very minimal ADR, automated dialogue replacement.
Right, like in Licorice Pizza and Phantom Thread.
Yeah.
The dialogue felt so immediate.
Exactly. That commitment to imperfection, it makes even the big epic scenes like those car chases feel incredibly visceral and real for you, the viewer. You feel like you're right there.
So, okay, bringing it all together, what does this all mean? What truly sets PTA apart?
I think it's his willingness to just let his deeply flawed characters breathe, to let them reveal their contradictions, trusting the audience, trusting you, to witness humanity in its messiest but also its most tender forms. His greatest trick, maybe, is simply giving characters space, letting them show us the story rather than telling us through plot points.
So if we connect this all back to that idea, the tragic cost of ambition, Daniel Plainview, he achieved his goal, right? Self-declared godhood, essentially.
And he ends up finished, alone in that wide, unforgiving frame we talked about.
Yeah. So does PTA suggest that the ultimate cost, technical and emotional, of that kind of radical ambition is eventually the rejection of the camera's closeness?
Yeah.
Leaving the character just totally isolated in their own frame.
That's a heavy thought. But yeah, maybe that isolation is the price. Definitely something for you to chew on.